Hey y'all, it's me, Amy D. McKnight from Davidson Fiber Arts, and don't worry, I am not going to be going this fast throughout the whole video. I'm actually I'm going to be talking over the fast part, and then it's going to slow way down, and I'm going to take you step by step through how to weave in this style of weaving. So stay tuned. And let me know in the comments. I know that some people like to see the whole process quickly, and then they like to, see the step by step, while others, prefer just step by step. So I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone and one piece of content. Let me know what you think. I always put the quick part first so that those of you who, have the idea, you don't have to wait for me to explain it all. But yeah, I want to make sure I'm best serving you. So just let me know if you like these quick and these videos with the overview up front and then a breakdown at the end. All right. So in the time that I've been talking, and this is going maybe about 6 times faster than normal, you can kind of get an idea of what you need to do in order to weave in this style weaving. And I'm telling you right there, don't pull it tight. You want to kind of leave that arc, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later when I, show you again how to do this. What I love about this method of weaving is the simplicity of it, that when you weave like this, when you're done, you're done. I also love the fact that the edges are straight, and you'll see that when I take it off the loom. And I love the fact that you're getting like double duty, You're weaving the top and the bottom part of the square with every pass. So what you're doing, and I want you to notice some things. I do have the loom set on its corner. I find that it's a little bit easier to do it like that. I also have my yarn to my left, and I'm pulling it from left to right. I find that it doesn't get in my way when I do it like that. Now, the little green tool that I'm using, I'm actually about to get a needle. But that little green tool that you're going to see me using, you can get those. It's basically a tool that you use if you're going to be weaving on one of those knitting looms. That's what you use to pull the loops over the pegs. And so you can find that in most big box stores that have a crafting section. And there I am weaving in the starting end that I looped on the first peg. And so pretty much the idea is that you're weaving everything and finishing the edge all at the same time, which I love. And when you're done, as you can see, you just pop that whole thing off and you have perfectly straight sides. I love perfectly straight sides. All right, y'all, so I'm going to slow this down a little bit and take you step by step through how to do it. So first you're going to make a slip knot. You're going to put it on the corner like I've done, the top corner. Pull it down, pull the thread down and around and up and around. And then you're going to pull it down. Then you're going to pick up that middle thread and pull your thread under. Pull the thread up around the pegs that are beside those corner pegs. That completes one circuit. And you're going to do it again. Go up, come down, come to the middle, pick up the pieces, the threads, come down and around. Now you can't really see it, but I'm picking up the threads that are the lowest down. I'm going to go under the thread that is the opposite of the one I went over. And because this is not contrasting, you're not going to be able to see it as well, but you'll see it better when I change to using the white thread. You're you're always going to go under that last thread, and when you go up, as I'm about to go up, actually I'm showing you, I'm about to change the pattern. So to do the pattern that I'm doing, to get the pattern that I'm doing, you're going to stop at the 5th peg. So you're going 5 pegs, counting the corner on either side, and when you start, and you're going to be starting on that left hand side, you attach the yarn on the 6th peg. Just keep watching, it'll make a little bit better sense. And I'm showing you that the threads that you're picking up are the lowest threads. The threads that are down are the ones that you're picking up the threads that are below. You kind of make a shed as you're weaving, and so the threads that you picked up on the last pass, you're going to go the opposite threads as you go. And after a while, you can pick up a couple and pull through. You're always going to leave, let me do it again. As you're pulling the thread through, you're going to have a natural little arc that comes. You just leave that arc. You don't want to pull it tight. In fact, I'm going to emphasize this a little later on. I'll be honest, diagonal weaving is kind of one of those that you kind of sort of just have to watch. And as you watch it, it makes sense. At least that's how I found. I watched a whole bunch of videos in Spanish. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. Now I'm changing, I don't really need to, I could still use my fingers here, but I'm changing to using the tool just so that you'll see how the tool is used. It can be actually helpful to use the tool to bring the thread through. You can also use a crochet hook, or you can use a hair clip, but it's the same with the tool or with your fingers. And what I'm doing is I'm picking up the threads that are the opposite of what I did in the previous pass. And I lost my tool. And as I'm going, I'm pretty much just, you're just doing a circuit over and over again. Now I'm showing you that you need to keep that curve. That's what I'm trying to emphasize, that you want to keep the curve. It's kind of like the weaver's arc, or the little rainbows or clouds that you do when you're doing tapestry weaving. You want the curve because that helps your thread to settle down and not be too loose or too tight. You get a kind of natural curve as you're weaving. I'm telling you, don't do this. Don't pull it tight. Don't pull it tight. You don't want it to be super tight because your square won't be as nice. You want to leave that nice curve in there, the little arc both ways, and you can use your fingers just to pat it down. And after a while, you just kind of get the hang of it. You can see what threads you're supposed to be picking up, and it just, I don't know, I find this method of weaving, like, it is my favorite. I think I said it already, but I'll say it again. It's just something about it. It's just really relaxing, and the squares work up really, really fast. And so now it's time for me to change my colors again. So I'm going to go ahead and snip it off. And as you can see, again, I am on that left-hand side. And when I tie on my thread, I try to tie it on right above the peg. And so the knot is on above my pegs. And I'm going to continue going with this color that I had started off with. And nothing really changes. You're always going to be doing the same thing. You're going to be picking up the threads that are the lowest to your board, which pretty much is kind of going every other one, and you're weaving the top and the bottom at the same time, which I love that part about this method of weaving. Now you do want your threads to be at a 90-degree angle to each other. I think that's called perpendicular. I'm trying to remember my geometry terms. Geometry is useful. And you're just going to, as you go, sometimes, some parts need to be a little bit tighter, and you just want to even that out as you go. It's easier than trying to do it in the last passes. As you get closer to the center, you can see that the tool is kind of a necessary thing, because it would be hard to use your fingers. But again, if you don't have this tool that I'm using, you could always use a barrette or a crochet hook or a piece of wire or something like that, whatever. It's just to serve the purpose of pulling the thread through. And I think, this is the last pass that I'm going to be doing with the actual loop. And as soon as I get the thread pulled all the way through, it's going to be time for me to cut the thread and to use an actual needle in order to finish get the last piece through that will lock all the stitches together. And you see, I'm just trying to make sure that everybody's even, and now I'm measuring the thread before I cut it. So the reason why I go diagonal and around two corners is so that when I'm done, especially if I'm going to be sewing multiple squares together, that I'll have a little thread to make it so that I can sew them together without having to add on thread. And I'm going to go up the center, just straight up the center. And I'm pretty much just locking in all the threads that have been woven so they're not going anywhere. And I am done. Now, if you do have a common threads loom, it's useful to use first I'm going to work in that end, the starting end. I'm going to weave that into the work so that that end is hidden away. And I'm going to work it in really good so there's no way it's going to just come out or come unraveled. And I'm just using a large-eyed needle, same one that I used to weave the last row, to weave it in. And then I'm just going to trim that. And now I'm going to pull my knots, make sure they're super tight. I did use a square knot, so they're pretty tight. I'm just going to cut them off, cut the little ends off now while it's on the loom. And now I'm going to use the tool to help take it off. The push pins, the thickness of the head of a push pin is actually what makes it hold this super thick, or at least the shape of the head of the push pins make it so that this thread stays on it, despite the fact that push pins are pretty short. But it also makes it so that thread stays on it, which means that you kind of need to use something to help the thread off. If you try to just pull it off, you can also actually distort or mess up your weaving. So that's why I'm using the tool to take it off. And that's pretty much it. And so, if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Again, this is the Common Threads Loom. The pattern is free. Look at the link in my bio. You can go download a copy of it and make one today and make a square like this. That's it for this video. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. All right. Have a great rest of your day and happy weaving.